Hello, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest doing a video review here of 7953 Southwest Connemara Terrace here in Beaverton. Again, this is someone else's video. It was done a few days ago. I haven't done any locates. This is purely a visual video review of the sewer line. So I've advanced the video out here to the end of the advance out, just so we don't have to watch the beginning of the video. The meaningful part is as we pull back in. And I've already reviewed this, so I'm going to start talking about things before we even get back to it. You know, right out of the gate, the line needs hydrojetting. It's got very thick grease and debris buildup throughout the line. The line could absolutely benefit from doing that to help prevent blockages from occurring. Grease just makes for sticky conditions. So we've got a belly here that runs for about 55 to 57 feet. We're going to come up on here in a moment. It's barely holding an inch of water. It's between, I don't even think it hits an inch. The water line never exceeds the top of the camera lens. So you're somewhere between 3/4 and an inch maximum. And that distance from the house, that is far too minor, in my opinion, to require repairs. Blocking and backing up from a belly that small at those distances, generally speaking, requires just plain old lots of abuse to get there. And as a preface to this, I've done almost 25,000 inspections in my 14 years and a lot of drain cleaning. That is just the case with bellies this size. They generally speaking require abuse. And this line's been gunked with a lot of grease buildup, and I don't even see blockage evidence at the top of the pipe leading back from this belly. Not that I would expect to from something this size. There's a tiny little 1/16 1/4 inch offset joint there. You've got some gunk hung up on the joint. It would be nice to get that jetted out, just to get a clear view of the joint. That joint there looks intact. It's just that jet black item there that's at the pipe joint. Theoretically could be a piece of Fernco, which is a rubber seal pushing through the joint, but you usually don't see that on offsets this minor. But hard to say until you get the line cleaned up to get a clear view. Most likely that's debris. So as it sits right now, assuming that joint there is intact, that's not Fernco sticking to the joint, that's not a belly I'd recommend a fix on. Certainly could use cleaning though to help improve flow. It's just too far from the home to pose a high risk for a blockage unless you're flushing things like paper towels, wipes, and a combination of grease buildup in the line. Top of the pipe here is clean as you can see, no backup evidence, and I wouldn't expect to see that. We are coming up on a tie-in. This is an important thing to look into. At 36 feet, we have a Y connection that comes in here. Being that this does appear to be a condominium type neighborhood, most likely this tie-in right here is an active sewer tying in. And it has grease streaks coming out of it. I don't believe that's storm. I'd be very surprised if that was storm, honestly, where it's positioned and given the age this line is. So anyway, I would contact the HOA, find out if they are responsible for the line, being that it does appear to be shared. I can't guarantee it's shared without being there to have the neighbor flush water, but that way that ties in there with the kind of debris deposits coming off of it looks very indicative of a tie-in, and it would not be unexpected to see that in a condominium type setup like this. Now the belly at the start of the line here that runs from the clean out access to about 10 feet, it's holding an inch plus, maybe as much as an inch and a half of standing water. Because of the proximity of this belly to the house, and the size that it is one that does indeed pose the potential for blockages and a backup to occur. If a blockage does occur here, you have little leeway to fill up the pipe to help create head pressure and break it loose, versus something like the other belly that's a much further distance out. That one there, you would have to abuse the line. There's just too much, you have to build up too much of the line with water. The head pressure of that would push things through. But this one here, as close as it is to the home, this is a belly I would indeed like to see repaired. It's got over an inch of water. It's 10 feet in length. That's about double the length of my breaking point for where I start recommending repairs. So, at the very least, the line needs hydrojetting. You've got thick buildup throughout the entire sewer line. The line could definitely benefit from that. Whether the belly gets repaired or not, I would highly recommend the line get jetted, no matter what. So, and if the belly is repaired, I do recommend rescoping afterwards to check the work, and you want to do that when the trench is closed. But that's my 2 cents on that. And as the line sits, I mean, if you were to remove the, buildup from the equation here, but even with all that in there, the line is a functioning sewer line. It is draining slower than it should due to that belly, and that slow drain is what leads the potential for blockages to occur. So I don't use the terminology failed unless a line is blocked and backing up. They're all functioning to an extent until that point. So, but ideally we want to see good flow in the immediate pipe outside the house there. That's the highest risk stuff for leading to blockages, and certainly a backup if a blockage does occur. Otherwise, the rest of the line here appears to be in good shape, but the whole thing could use a thorough hydrojetting, and I would certainly check with the HOA and find out how they divvy up responsibility, as it does appear that you could have a neighbor tying in there around 36 feet. That's worth investigating.